Hey, everybody, Coach Troy here, and I know what you're thinking. If there's anybody who can judge looks, it's this guy right here, right?
Oh my.
So a couple of weeks ago, I made a list of the top 10 best-looking games in my collection based on their cover art. And yeah, I might not be the best person to be judging looks and what looks beautiful and whatnot. So this list, the ugliest games in my collection, the worst looking, just the fuggliest whatever games, yeah, that's definitely more up my alley, alright? Sometimes the truth hurts. So anyway, I'm going to make a list of the 10 ugliest games that are in my collection. So this is not the worst, ugliest games of all time. No. These are just the ones that I happen to have in my collection. So for the most part, I like these games. I think these are good games. There's a couple in there that, yeah, maybe are not so great and probably shouldn't be in anybody's collection. But still, I got them, and so I'm going to show them off because why not? What else are you doing with your life, right? But enough of my rambling, and let's get to the list. Starting off with my number 10, and that is Room 25. Now, Room 25 is an interesting game. It's a survival game. If you've ever seen the movie Cube, right, you guys are definitely like low-budget, cheap horror fans. Maybe not. But if you've somehow seen the movie Cube... But anyways, this game is kind of like that. It's a grid-based game with tiles, and the tiles, you can move them, move into them. You don't know what's in there. You're going to have to flip them around. You have so many actions that you can do. And the best variation of this game is a 6-player, where 2 of the players are hidden traitors that are trying to kill everybody else, while the other 4 are trying to escape. So enough about that. Enough about the actual game. Let's look at this cover. Why do I say this is so bad? Because truthfully, it's not that bad. It's a little cheesy, a little weird, a little funky. You've got, Doc Brown in the back middle there. What it reminds me of is, when I was younger, my friends worked at Blockbuster Video. And, of course, there was all these low-budget, straight-to-rental VHS tapes that you could see in there. And a little trick that they would use to make sure that they actually got spotted and seen was they would have this extra shiny, glossy box cover, so that way it would catch your eye, something you would normally just completely ignore as you go to watch Shawshank Redemption or whatever else might be there. What do you think if Andy Dufresne had this instead of Raquel Welch on his wall? Maybe the warden would have torn it down. And that's what this reminds me of, so that's why every time I look at it, I'm just like, it's actually good with 6 players. So that's my number 10. Not completely horrible. And in the number 9 spot, we've got Mall of Horror. Yes, this is straight out of Hot Topics, this cover here. Now, this is a zombie negotiation game where you're trying to kill off all of your opponent's characters that they've got living around. Throw their humans out of different spots of the mall where you're hiding and hope that you have the remaining survivors. Kind of a rough game, kind of brutal, and this cover definitely depicts that. It is bloody. I like that. I like the viciousness of it, but it is a little funky. But God, these flames around the edge. I mean, yeah, remember how flames were really cool in the late 90s and early 2000s? I would not be surprised to find this game at Spencer's. You know what I'm talking about. Yeah, it's not completely horrible. We're going to get into the uglier stuff, but this still definitely not one of my best looking games. I always think this looks super cheesy and kind of terrible. Reminds me of all the bad taste in clothing I had when I was younger. Ooh, horrible memories. And in the 8th spot, Loopin Chewie. Now, again, Loopin Chewie doesn't look completely horrible. This is just a little kid's game where it's Loopin Louie, but you got Chewie instead. I think it's only 3-player instead of 4-player too. I don't know. I have this thing still. I'll bust it out every now and again. Just kind of as a novelty, just a fun little game. No biggie. But what is going on with Chewie here? What have they done to my boy? I'm not the biggest Star Wars fan. In fact, Star Trek was way better. Fight me in the comments. But I still cannot believe what they've done to Chewbacca's face here. This is just abysmal. This would be sacrilegious if I was a big Star Wars guy. And as someone who people accuse of looking like Qui-Gon Jinn, I gotta have my boys back here. This just ain't right. And in the 7th spot, we're gonna go from kids games to whatever the heck is going on here. Yes, this isn't the ugliest, although these guys from the 70s, this game was a game from the 70s called Seduction, a swinging game for swinging couples. What is this game about? Well, yeah, you can guess. How does it play? I have no idea, because I've never played it, and I hopefully, never will get in a point in my life where I do play this game. This looks, I don't know. I think I bought it from the thrift store just so that it was off the shelf, and no unsuspecting child would accidentally pick this game up. So yeah, that's my doing good service there, right? Yeah, this game is, I don't know, this is just scary for all the wrong reasons. It doesn't look completely horrible because it's a product of its time and whatnot. So, my number 7, let's get rid of this trash. And in the 6th spot, a game that doesn't look too bad, but its in there is just looking completely boring and forgettable. I actually hear that this is a good game. I've never played it. It's a bidding game, bluffing game, whatever. I've heard really good things about how it plays. But when I look at my stack of games and what I'm going to pull out for game night, just because of how this game looks, it looks so boring. Oh my god. The most beige brown Euro cover looks more exciting than this right here. It looks like a bad kids game or something. I don't know. I hold on to it because someday I'm going to play it. But unfortunately, it's just meh. More just a tragedy than anything else. I believe they've redone this with a new cover that hopefully looks a little more exciting, but there it is, the game of 49. And in the 5 spot, look here, this is a picture of a tree. This is nature. This is actually very nice. This is on my best looking board game covers. Gorgeous, beautiful. And then we got this right here, Outdoor Survival. The most washed out, boring, dull, ugly side of scenery. This makes me not like trees. This makes me wish for global warming to just speed up a little bit, right? Okay, maybe not that bad, but yeah. Again, I know this is an older bookshelf game. A game that's got some pretty bad reviews and ratings, though it's not completely horrible. Yeah, the first scenario is bad, but it was just kind of meant to teach you the game before you eventually die, and the other scenarios are actually better and kind of fun. So yeah, not so great with an even worse cover. That is Outdoor Survival. And in the 4th spot, we've got, yes, it's not a base game, it's an expansion, but God, this thing is ugly. Last Night on Earth, Growing Hunger Expansion. Ugh. So Flying Frog has this art style where it takes like realistic photographs of people and kind of glosses them up and puts them on all its pictures and covers and whatnot. And the actual base game doesn't look horrible. It does that same art. The cards aren't bad, but this particular cover, is just ugly. The people, for some reason, are just bad looking in it. It looks so much worse. I feel really bad for this character here. Got him screaming down in the corner. And what is with this bucky-toothed beaver-looking zombie right here? My name is Festus the Zombie, and I never had no brains in life, so I'm gonna try to eat 'em in death. Yeah, I just think it looks so bad. Which is a shame, because the other ones don't look so bad. I don't know, the other one looks I kind of like how they work with some of them. Even the zombie on the side right here looks pretty cool. I like the way she looks right there, but that ugly for all the wrong reasons. Last Night on Earth, Growing Hunger. So I love the Baroque style of art. Rembrandt with his subtle brushstrokes using lights and darks to just make everything so realistic and lifelike. This is a true masterpiece. And this is an ugly smear of feces. Ah, yes, the 3M bookshelf collection. I'm from Minnesota, so I've got a bunch of these 3M games. And several of them could easily be on this list. Honorable mention on this Spock-looking guy on the cover of Ploy here. Yeah, this is trying to look futuristic, but just looks funky. But this one here, I just think is the worst because they were trying to make it look sophisticated, trying to make it look like fine art, and failing spectacularly. Yes, it's just chess. Everybody knows chess. A fun game, sure, if you like that kind of stuff. Lifestyle game and whatnot. But I think this cover actually very well expresses my true feelings for the game of chess. I'm just not a fan. Well, hey, everyone's a critic, right? And in the 2 spot, we've got Caylus, Magna, Carta. Now, the original game, Caylus, is very famous for the extremely ugly box art that it's got right there, the guy with the weird hand and whatnot. Just very, very infamous. When you think about ugly box art cover, that's usually what comes to most people's mind. But this one also is doing its fair share to claim that title. I mean, just look at the people on this cover. We've got oh boy there with the weird chubby cheeks. The guy in the middle, he's just ugly, man. Like, this is how royalty were supposed to... This is how the nobles looked back in the day, maybe? I don't know. This is what sophistication was supposed to look like. And oh my god, if this is what it is, I'm glad I'm more on Festus's level. Yeah, I think I'll take the zombie over looking like oh boy here any day. Yes, truly fugly, that is Caylus, Magna Carta, my number 2. And lastly, in the number 1 spot, the ugliest game in my collection, Well, it's truly a travesty, and some of you might get mad at me for this, but you'll have to listen to my reasoning, because my number one ugly game is Bob Ross, The Art of Chill. Man, again, hear me out before you go attacking me. I really love Bob Ross. I love the man. Who doesn't love the man? What he's done, what he's accomplished, just his whole personality, his persona, how calming and soothing he is, and how much he wants to put confidence in everybody who painted with him. Like, the man was a genius. The man was an angel on earth. I love Bob Ross. But this just ain't it. Oh my God. Outside of his personality, the two things that he's known for, of course, is his art style, his nature art style, and that big old fro he had. Truly iconic, but when you blend the two together, it just looks wrong, and that close-up on anybody's face is just not appealing. I mean, I would not want my ugly mug pushed on a giant box anywhere. And yeah, I'm not as handsome as this man right here, but it's still just not a good look, and when you blend in that art fro, it looks so bad. And again, I love this game too. This game is great. It's like Ticket to Ride, but if anyone ever says they want to play Ticket to Ride, I say this one instead. There's a little bit of luck involved, but it's a fun card-driven set collection game. I love this game. I love Bob Ross. Believe it or not, I actually have friends who have no idea who Bob Ross is. But when I show them this game box and say, hey, let's play this game, they look at me like, I don't know, man. Maybe board games are not for me. Such a shame, because you're still my boy, Bob. You're my boy. So there they are, the ugliest board games in my collection. Tell me what you think. Would you rate them the same way I do? Is there anything I am absolutely wrong about? What are the ugliest games in your collection? And am I a bad person for judging other people's artwork? Well, maybe, but that's probably the least of my sins, right? Anyway, thanks for hanging out with me. Thanks for listening. And I will see y'all next time. Coach Troy, out.